Of all the great heroes of Ireland, one of the greatest was Finn McCool. But he didn't start out as a great hero. So now I will tell you the story of how Finn McCool began. You see, his father had been one of the men contesting for the leadership of the band of Fine. These were the great heroes of Ireland who would protect the king and protect the country. The rivalry between his father and the other fella, though, went badly. His father was killed and he had to go into hiding. Travelled all over the countryside, indeed. His name at that time was Demna. And as he was wandering through the country, he came to a very remote part of the land. And in that land there was a pool. The pool was called Lin Feck. And above this pool grew 9 trees, hazel trees. And the nuts from these hazel trees fell into the water, where they were eaten by a salmon. These trees were no ordinary trees. They were trees of wisdom. Their roots reached down into the bowels of the earth, and the wisdom of the whole world was gathered in them. And it was still there in the nuts that fell into the water, and it was still there in the salmon that ate those nuts. This salmon became well known all over Ireland, the Salmon of Wisdom, on Reardon Fossa. Legend had told how a man named Finn would one day catch that salmon and eat of it and become a great hero of Ireland. And there was an old druid, Finnegas, who decided that he would be the man to try, for the beginning of his name was Finn. He set up camp beside that pool and began fishing. Didn't Demna come across this? "Where are you going, lad?" said Finnegas. "Hither, thither, and yon," said the lad, "wherever I can keep on going." "You may stay here with me," said Finnegas, "if you will work here and keep my campsite stranded safely here." "So I will," said the boy. And so it was Demna became his serving boy. And after a long time, didn't Finnegas catch that salmon? He brought it out and he handed it to Demna. "Here, lad," says he. "Now you must follow my instructions exactly. Do not eat any of this salmon yourself, but when it is ready, you bring it to me. Do you understand that now?" "I do, sir," said the lad. And Demna began to roast the salmon. But as he was roasting it, didn't the skin begin to boil and bubble up? He reached out to press it down, and his finger burned as he touched it. He put his finger to his mouth, and the first drop of the salmon went through his body. The magic had begun and gone into Demna. When he served the salmon, old Finnegas could see that he had got it too late, that Demna had swallowed the wisdom. "My lad," said he, "you will no longer be known now as Demna. Finn, the son of Cool, is your name. Aren't you that lad?" "I am," said the boy. "You have the wisdom now. You are the one to become a great hero of Ireland. I can do no more for you have the wisdom of the world in your thumb tip. All you need to solve a question is to bite on your thumb, and the answer will present itself to you." Now Finn went on his way from there. He decided to go back to Tara to confront the king and his father's enemy. When he got to Tara, he was amazed, for he expected to find the place a royal seat, but it was all nearly deserted. The king was in hiding, for a very mysterious creature called Alon had taken to raiding the place every night. He would begin singing beautiful music, and the warriors would fall asleep. And while they were asleep, Alon would come in and kill one of them and take him away and eat him. How are we to be preserved from this monster? I will think of a way, said Cuchulainn. And so he did. He bit on his thumb and thought. He called for a long cape and a sharp spear. I will wait for Alon, said Finn McCool. When night falls, I will meet him. Ah, said the king, you will fall asleep like the others and be killed by him. Never fear, said Finn. He went into the palace and waited there. He took a seat. He threw the cape over his head till his whole body was covered, and he took the spear. He put the butt to the ground and the point of the sharp spear to his chest. And as he sat there that night, the music began. And as he began to drop off to sleep, he would lean forward and the sharp point of the spear would prick his chest and he woke up again. When Alon came in and saw the figure hiding underneath the blanket of the cape, he realized that this must be the last man standing there. He went over, but Finn had not fallen asleep. He sprung out. The spear went through Alon until it came out the back of him and stuck in the wall far behind him. Alon was mortally wounded and ran. Down the road he ran. Finn grabbed the spear from the wall and chased. Finally, as he was dying at his own den, Alon's mother came out to see him, and Finn killed her as well. He took their heads and he went back to Tara, where he was greeted with grandeur as a victorious monster killer. And from that time, there was no question of who would be the champion of all Ireland and the leader of the Fianna. It would be Finn McCool. And that is the beginning of the great stories of Finn McCool.